and I hope all of you can hear me. Just say hi on the chat if you can hear me well. Hi, all of you. Right? Okay,
Good morning,
perfect.
Chandra sir.
Good morning, Dr. Anjali ji. Thank you so much for invitation. Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
All right. So, are we good to start now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very much.
All right. So I hope all of you are doing well this morning. Please let me know if if any of you can't hear me properly. Do let me know. So let me start by thanking all of you for joining this virtual event. Right. I think this is the need of the hour, and it is very important for us to discuss such relevant subjects on physical education, sports tourism, and educational tourism with the youth of today, so that they can be prepared for a better tomorrow. So first of all, I would like to congratulate Dr. Anjali and her team for taking an initiation to organize such an amazing event, which is actually very timely, right? Let me tell you a little bit about myself. And I'm based out of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I've been in tourism industry, hospitality industry for more than 15 years, and I was involved in destination management and events management, digital and travel technology development, and now the travel media services as well. So we, as a group of companies, we have been yeah. So in 6 Asian countries, and we we are very proud to be able to contribute to the growth of tourism in these countries' economies. So I'll be talking about two subjects today. Sports tourism and edu tourism, educational tourism. So I'll briefly share my knowledge on these topics, and some projects we have done on both the fields. And also towards the end of it, we can take up your questions, and if anyone of has any questions, and you can always ask me. I would do my best to reply as much as I know. So let me begin with the sports tourism. So globally, sports tourism is recognized as one of the upcoming tourism markets, with significant economic potentials. In Malaysia, it is important income generator in the tourism industry, contributing approximately 10 billion ringgits annually, and it's supported by a broad global audience as a sporting events. So usually attracts domestic and international participants, and revenue generated ranges from accommodations, food and beverages, tickets, gate sales, sponsorships, and media rights to merchandising, garments production, and all. Right, sports tourism can be categorized into hard sports and the soft sports, the two different categories we have. So hard sports tourism attracts huge global participants, as people tend to travel together to host uh, country to participate these events. These are usually competitive international sports events such as Formula One Grand Prix, Southeast Asian Games, Sea Games, and meanwhile soft sports, we even have MotoGP, which is a very famous uh, uh, sports event in Malaysia. We have almost 100 over 1,000 tourists comes out of ASEAN, from Indonesia and Philippines and all these ASEAN countries. As a Grand Prix is another very big event which has huge fan following around the globe. So sports tourism, soft sports tourism, refers to the recreational sports activities or getaways such as golfing, water rafting and scuba diving and all that. So this type of sports tourism combines both sports activities and leisure activities, which typically lures the tourist to an exciting destination and physically or natural attraction, so they can spend their holiday as well as they can attend you know these events. So I've been very fortunate enough to be part of such a large sports events as an organizer in Malaysia, in Penang, and also we'll also later part of the talk we'll talk about the educational tourism, where we also had been contributing on educational fairs and tourism economy. So we'll talk about it after we discuss sports tourism. So let me give you an example of an event we handled in 2018, which is called Asia Pacific Master Games. So it was an international event with more than 25,000 participants from 23 countries, featuring more than 25 type of game categories, which was held in Penang Island. Penang Island is a very prominent tourist place in Malaysia, the second largest city of Malaysia. It has an island as well as the mainland. I'm sure many of you must have been to Penang. Just give me a shout out on the comment section if you've been to Penang. Just write Penang so that I know that you guys been to Penang, right? So it's very important for us to interact when you do a virtual event. It's not it's as same as we all sitting in the same hall. You have your keyboards, so you can just keep writing. You express your opinions and things like that. So we should make it uh, as interactive it can be. So then only it'll be fun, right? Nobody wants to attend a boring lecture kind of event, right? So let's make it more interactive and more fun. Okay. All right. So I came here to talk to you all, right? I mean, just that one side talking won't work. We need to communicate each other. I need to know what you thinking about the situation. I need to know what you think about sports tourism, and I can contribute in my knowledge, and then we can actually learn a lot from each other. So that's my all right. So let's move into the Asia Pacific Master Games. This is what we have done. It was a fantastic experience as a company. We never had experience of holding such a huge event or being a part of it. So it was amazing. And I would like to play a video which will give you an idea of how a sports themed tourism event looks like. As you can see, the difference between a sports event and a tourism sports event, because I just like you to see the kind of you know uh, uh, the setup and how the whole thing works, because that's how you will, because typically a sports event, you won't have the leisure segment. So here it is more of a, you know people come here as a tourist as well as they are participating in a sports event. So let me just play this Asia Pacific Master Games video so that you will have an idea, and then later we will discuss further on this. Let me share my screen. Yes, sir. I give the authority to share your screen, please. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Prashant sir, audio is missing.
Excuse me, Prashant sir. Can you hear me, sir? Hello. The audio is missing, sir.
Prashant sir, can you hear me?
Excuse me, Prashant sir. Can you hear me? Sir, audio is not available on this video. Can you please reconnect this audio? Hello. Due to some technical issues, the audio is not available. But all the participants can see the video that the event had been organized by Malaysia, and Prashant sir, who is means speaker of this uh, session, he has engaged. He has engaged this session in Malaysia. A grand event for it was. All the sports activity you can see on the screens were uh, carried out by this tourism event.
And it need not any explanation. It is very much feasible and then
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Certainly it is.
All right. Okay. So I hope you all seen the video. And so if you have noticed in this video, there's a lot of leisure elements in a tourism sports event. Like most of the players, even they used to come with their families. So the families will see around, and the players will participate in the event. And there is a lot of special tours, the package tours which been organized for even the players as well as their families. There's a lot of street parties, a lot of cultural performances, and there's a lot of live shows, and all this happens especially in such events. So thank you so much for all of you to take time to watch this. So anyone has any questions about sports tourism or events, something, just keep typing down so that we can take it up later. Even if I'm not able to answer all your questions during this session, we will take it up after the session. Probably Dr. Anjali will take it up on the email or whatever, so that we still can communicate with all of you. So now let me talk about the status of tourism right now. So as you know, everyone is locked down, and we all having this virtual event at the moment. Of course, tourism is one industry which suffers, I think, suffered the most, affected the first, and to recover the last. But then, by looking at the previous crisis happened around the world, we always bounce back much stronger in no time. So that's been, if you look at any country's history, I mean, we always there's a strong bounce back if you could see the pattern. So I know all of you must be thinking like how the new post-corona era, like how the event's going to take place. Even I think it's a big question mark in everyone's mind. Even such big events will be a big challenge for the coming days with these new norms of social distancing and all that. But I strongly believe, I mean, I personally believe that it's just the short term until we find the vaccine or something. I know after that everything going to get back to normal as quick as possible. That's what I feel about it. So let's talk about the career opportunities in tourism. So although I'm not from the human resource background, I'm still I've been told that a lot of the students are curious about tourism careers abroad and stuff like that. So let's explore. I mean, I will share as much as I know from the tourism point of view. So let's explore the careers in tourism first, and then we will talk about the careers in sports. All right. Okay. um, Fine. So what kind of careers are available in tourism industry? Right. It seems I'm not able to speak over the phone. Okay, there's some comments coming in. Fine. So, what are the careers available in tourism industry? Okay, from the operational positions to management and then executive level responsibilities. So, you will find opportunities from training, knowledge, and skill development, along with unlimited career growth. Tourism has industry offers a very unique environment for those who wish to start their own business as well. So tourism is actually a very um, it's a good career opportunity to venture into for those newcomers. So operationally, if you say what are the operational positions, so let's say usually those where people are involved directly with the tourists, the travelers, and they're often the first step in the career. Everybody has to go through these operational positions. These are like, for example, if I say, let's say, housekeeping staffs in the hotels, or the front office staffs, or even the bartenders, the concierge staff, even the tour guides, the service staffs, sales coordinators, drivers, tourist drivers, and those kind of positions who comes on the entry level, operations position. And then we have the supervisory positions, where you have those people who manage, motivate, and schedule operational positions. Like they are a bit key experts. So that's probably your second stage of your career. Once you have some experience, you will move towards the supervisory positions. Like you have guest relation supervisor, you have transport supervisor, you have event planner, and you have restaurant supervisor. You also have those maintenance supervisor and housekeeping supervisor. So there are, if to talk about it, it has to be it's a separate subject, and it has a it has a long discussion, as we have a lot to cover in this. So when you talk about management positions, like those people who are involved in budgeting, analysis, and then you're planning. So those who take management decisions on behalf of the organization and help the employees and the organization to grow. So there are many, for example, you have a director of sales and marketing, who basically in charge of the sales and marketing part of the hotel. The head chef, who in charge of the food production. The area managers in sales and things like that. So even there are adventure company owners, there are room division revenue managers, there are the attractions operation managers. So there are so many. It's a huge area to touch. And then you have executive positions as such, general manager of the hotel, you have general manager of regional manager of restaurant chain, you have vice president, and you have CEOs of destination management companies as such. So there are also many opportunities for entrepreneurs in tourism industry. So those who people who really want to start something on your own, I think you should definitely look at tourism industry. Is the one industry you can start a different type of business without a big working capital. So tourism industry is very blessed with even if you look at country like Malaysia, we receive more than 30 million tourists in a year. From India, we receive almost 800,000 tourists, from India. So uh, for us, India is one of the biggest tourist markets, and we hope even after coronavirus issue also, it is still going to be the same. Although it will take some time to recover, but it's going to be a key market for us. All right, so if anybody has any questions, do write down, do ask me, no problem. So let's talk about so you know uh, career in sports. So I would like to, at this point of time, I would like to have I have a video from Dr. V Ramesh Kumar. So he was actually an assistant professor in from the Tamil Nadu Sports University, who is explaining the career opportunity in sports industry. So I like to play that video, and I'll just it'll be more interactive for you to see what he has to say. Right? Let me just play that video.
Hello, you may share, sir.
Yeah. All right. Sure. Mm, right. All right. All right. So I hope it was informative to all of you, those who are looking for a career in sports tourism. So let me please keep typing your questions if you have any. All right, we will take it up later. All right. So let me
Yes,
move on to my Yeah. Sorry.
yes,
Please,
yes.
please.
Second, after your session, we will discuss the opportunities since this corona has really affected the
Ah.
industry a lot. So, what
All right.
opportunities we see in it, that we will definitely discuss at the end of your session.
Sure. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. Right. So let me move on to my second subject, which is edu-tourism, educational tourism. Right. So actually, sports and educational travel has one similarity. So that is, in both segment, people travel away from one's primary residence to participate in sports and educational activity for recreation or competition purposes. So travel to observe it as, at grassroots level or elite level, and then travel internationally to visit a relevant attraction relatively. In particular, talking about edu tourism, part of how students benefit from you know tech educational trips is by gaining new perspectives, you know on this world. So this is especially true for more extensive educational trips where students travel further away from the home by coming into direct contact with the different ambience and surroundings, or even a new openness to differences in others, right? So I have another video for you to watch about edu tourism insights. Let me just fix that. I thought it
Yes,
was
yes, sir. And you may share the clip, sir.
okay. All right, 1 second. Do you have the audio?
No, sir. It's not audible.
It's not there. Okay. Hmm, how is-
Raise the volume if I think volume is not raised.
volume is full from my side.
Okay, sir.
There's no volume.
No, sir.
Okay, so maybe there is. Do you
It
see
may
any
be.
setting from your side? Uh,
Uh,
because can you see
Actually,
my screen? Like I have the volume here, right? It's
You
full
can
here.
explain, Mr. Chandra. You
yes,
can
sir.
explain because this
Okay.
glitches, they come, technical glitches arises online level.
All right. So shall I play the video?
Yeah.
Sure.
At the same time, you can explain because the video is on, that is visible.
Okay. Mm, Yeah. So talking about unforgettable moments, when you go for educational tour, so they have a cultural exchange. You know, so you learn from each other. If you're going to a different country, you get to learn from the student from that country as well. So they're talking about it's not expensive, as many colleges they partner each other to do edu tourism. So it's very affordable for students to take up a study tour in many countries. So a lot of activities like group discussion and sharing session, it'll be an eye opener for a student, who is going to a different country and then exposed to a different culture and people. Yeah, so especially the such tours focus on a lot on cultural and art learning for students, especially the cultural exchange is the largest opportunity to learn about and have a broader mind when you go to a different country. Yeah, so basically, yeah, so it's more of localizing with the culture, sharing culture with the local people, and towards later stage I will explain to you on what are the educational tourism opportunities we have in Malaysia, and we also have we partner with one of the universities to offer such cultural exchange programs with the universities and colleges in India. So I will also be explaining this towards on the later part. So basically, if you like sports, or if you have or want to travel, like in educational trips, if it excites you, or if it gives you a competitive edge, then a great field to pursue a career in. In addition, destinations are developing their tourism opportunities these days, and tourism is one of the key uh, economic contributors in many countries. Look at South Asian countries. Tourism uh, contributes up to 30% of their economy. So it is a huge growth is expected when you talk about a career in tourism. Although this is a short halt to the tourism industry, but it is going to bounce back as quick as it can be. So, this growth has ultimately driven the need of a professional and individual in areas of sports business, tourism, and education departments. But as the sports and education tourism industry is on the rise, as they say, and the academic community is catching up with the industry demand. Sports tourism, an area previously degraded, who couldn't make big leagues in the tourism, but now it's been pursued as one of the very attractive career options for people who are interested in sports management and sports tourism. So I certainly believe that the scope of future of tourism, even whether it's sports tourism or educational tourism, it's endless globally, and especially in India, because it's a diverse topography and the climatic conditions. You have the variety of sports India can undertake is, I think, it's immensely, a huge variety if you compare to other Asian countries. So whether you can enjoy it on the land or water, or underwater, on on snow. So India has almost everything, and desert. So adventure tourism, I think India has a huge opportunity to explore. As tourism, I think past couple of years, we can see India is more aggressive in promoting tourism, and they're taking tourism more seriously. um, and we can also see the results. The number of arrivals from internationally, it's increasing. The pre-COVID, it was very impressive. The numbers were huge, and they also had their visa on arrivals, and those kind of such encouraging acts for international tourists to arrive in India. I think definitely tourism is going into a different level already. So I'll just, at this point of time, I would like to explain to you about the certification programs we have available here in Malaysia. I mean, we've been a part of it. We want to promote it in India, and then I thought, why don't I just share what we have? And basically it's a 1 month kind of program, and a mix of practical and theoretical learning. Let me just show you a little bit on the scheduling and all. You can have a look at it, and so it's basically uh, the university's UITM. I think everyone knows about UITM. It's a very popular institution in Malaysia. It's a government institution. Um, I hope everyone can see my screen.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Yes. Yes.
Good morning, ma'am.
Um,
All right. So basically, it is University of Technology Maharab Shah Alam. It's a summer program basically. So it just basically for your learning purpose. I mean, I just want to show you how overseas educational program looks like, so that you all have a better idea. So it's typically what we do here is it's actually we tie up with one of the local universities. Even there are many universities we have based on the subjects the student or the institution is interested in. So I'm just giving you one example on how this thing looks like. So it's basically a 1 month program, and it's a certification program. They also give you a certificate once you complete this. Typically, this also be used as those uh, credit exchange kind of program, like when you two universities they collaborate each other, and then they will send students, and they will also exchange credit scores in return when you participate in this kind of courses. So it's typically it's a mix of leisure as well as education. So the schedule is in a way that they will also have sightseeings and also the campus classes in the campus. So it's a very interesting 1 month of learning for all of you, whoever wants to take up this. And this also, it's not only for students but also for the working professionals, so to brush up their skills and get international exposure, because when you travel to a different country, you learn a lot, not only just seeing places but then interacting with the locals, the local food, right? And there'll be ice breaking sessions based on local culture and all this tradition. You also been exposed to a lot of um, you know cultural activities, so a lot of so what they basically meant is the cultural exchange. So that learning is basically only possible when you are physically there. So that learning is not possible when virtually, unfortunately, unless someone comes up with a new technology to learn that virtual. We never know. All right, so it's more of a, if you could see, they have 4 weeks of where they will have a cross culture management module, and then the morning there's a class 9 to 1, and afternoon they will go for excursion. So that's how. So this is typically a educational tourism package. We call it as a it's actually we don't sell it as a tour package, but it's basically a certification course. So it's a very valid certification you receive towards the end of you know this course. So you have, it's been very interestingly, they've curated the whole content here. If you look at, they will take you to the academic visit in the craft, uh, a place where you can see craftsman is working and real time you can see. And then there is also You will also have a class on branding, advertising, and digital marketing, right? And then you will also have a class on negotiation skills. Then you will have so in the morning if you have a class, evening you have a tour. If you have a tour in the evening, then morning you have class. So it's like that. They will make sure that it's very interesting for students or who are participating. So if you look at there's also global business management and finance leadership within the organization, and organizational behavior and things like that. And then they will also take you to the excursion of history of Malacca, and the full day excursion. So basically it's a full on it's a week 3 they will teach you about global integration trends and issues, and then at the same time you have a tour in the afternoon, and week 4 is your politics, economics, cultural, and tourism. And they will also literally take you to all the government departments where you have a one-to-one session. Even they will take you to those industry for industrial visit. So if you have specifically interested in some of the industry visits, you can request about that, and then eventually they will take you there as well. So it's basically and it's always been done in association with the institution in India, so that I think it comes normally it works out in minimum a group of 20 people and things like that. So yeah, so they will do it in multiple times in a year. So it again depends on your vacation or the duration of 1 month you can travel out of your country. So then we also try to do a lot of local interactive sessions like personality building. We will expose you to public speaking. We do have this uh, a couple of Toastmasters clubs we have here who develop your personality. So such students, we'll also take them there, and we'll have a session, and we will have a mingling with the Toastmasters, and get to learn how a meeting can be conducted and all that. So pretty much somebody who comes into to attend this will go back with a lot of confidence, although it's only 1 month, but you feel like you learned a lot, and it's a very different experience from the feedback what we received. So all right, so I think more of it, I mean, if any further questions on all these things, you can always contact Dr. Anjali and her team, because we work very closely with her on all such activities. So I think she is the right person who can give you more information. So if you are an educational institution, and if you want to collaborate with the universities here, it can be because we have a lot of opportunities in various sectors. So we can always link you up directly. We can also help you to communicate with them, so that is not a problem. So second option is, some of you want to do a standalone course. If you think that you want to work with the university and you can introduce your own course. So basically, if you are doing a 4-month course, and you can have your 3 months in India and the last 1 month in Malaysia, like this, and you can give a Malaysian certification. So that also can be done for the institutions who are participating here. So basically it depends on what kind of subjects you want to cover. So that is pretty much doable. So if anyone has any questions, definitely we can take it up. I think we have um, all right, we have
I
another
think
10
I
minutes
think
left, I think.
Prashant, yeah, Prashant, I think everybody must be thinking that as you earlier said that it is a pause for the industry now, and then in
Right.
future, but this pause might go very long, and then by the time how to utilize the time we have. What kind of opportunity you see during the lockdown? Because as you told that the industry, I mean tourism industry is entered into as a sports industry and a education industry. Then
Right.
what kind of opportunities we have now, yeah, like we can say yoga, then you like Mr. Ramesh Kumar has given lot of insight during good information in his slideshow. Like
Right.
there the electronic games, sports videos, sports analysis. That I mean, you can utilize this time because it is in everybody's mind now that it is a pretty long gap now, pretty long pause,
Absolutely.
and it is going to be there for a long year long. And then so the we have here to discuss the opportunities basically, and the challenges. Of course, everybody knows the challenges what we have. So
Right.
I guess that online sessions, then we have sports videos, electronic games, and then that for the time being, still the lockdowns are there in various countries.
Right.
So it was really informative, very, I mean, good avenues are available for the youngsters and then the upcoming generation. So I think
Right.
in order to compete in the growing sports tourism market, it is very important for the countries to develop the understanding of benefits and importance of the sports and education tourism. And thank you so much for giving us all, I mean, covering all the aspects, dimensions of this industry, and then career opportunities here. uh, I mean, it is really challenging nowadays for everybody, for every sector, rather, I would say,
Right.
that during the lockdown. But of course, the yoga and these things are in now. We all have witnessed that so many apps are there for the daily exercises and daily. Uh, so I think that
Right.
it was really mind blowing, and you have covered almost all the topics under the sports tourism and then uh, education too.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, if you ask me, during this lockdown, I think what everybody should do is to utilize the time to brush
right.
up your
But
skills. You know.
we can discuss the opportunities like
Absolutely, yeah. So, so you see, it's very simple. Like, of course, they say tourism is the last to recover. But then, if you see, traveling is such a necessity these days, right? And I think what I feel that we are from the industry, and I can say that we have already receiving inquiries for November, December that people want to go to Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. They are really want to go out. So it's like the recovery time is not as of course we are depending largely depending on a vaccine. Then people can just simply forget about everything. But then even if it doesn't have vaccine, there are every operator, every stakeholder in the industry is already get ready with their SOPs. Even the hotels has their SOP, the standard of a procedure. And even you have airlines with their standard operating procedures. And then you have your your transporters. Everyone has already been there, and they have ready to welcome tourists. As the domestic tourism, the domestic airlines has already been started operating. I've seen the numbers. The very second day we had almost 36,000 passengers in India to travel domestic.
great.
So it is become a necessity. And I think all the students or everyone who is during the lockdown, I think you can actually there's a lot of content, a lot of information, good information available online, whether it is for sports tourism or for educational tourism or even for destinations. And you can just utilize that. Every tourism authorities or tourism departments are actually conducting a lot of webinars these days to talk about what is happening in their country and how they are coping up with this crisis. I think we're almost 70 to 80% done with the crisis now. I can see more light towards the end of the tunnel. The people are started, taking out the mask slowly, and going out to the shopping malls. Like in Malaysia, the shopping malls are open already. You know,
Okay.
yeah.
So
So you can
every
see.
dark cloud has a silver line. So we are really looking forward for the bright light ahead.
Absolutely. I think yes. I mean, it's. I think it is been. I mean, a learning curve for all of us. And I think the best part is, everyone has got a lot of time with their families, and even everyone has been strengthening their relationships. They have
Bonds,
been.
yes.
Yeah, and everyone is cooking. I could see like the whole world, and everyone is cooking, and they are doing their own stuff at home. So that is something amazing. So before I move on, I would like to ask, because I think many of you have asked you questions, and now it's time for me to ask you a question. So basically, how many of you like to receive daily updates on tourism news from Malaysia and across the globe? Not only news, we have a lot of webinar videos and a lot of tourism related content which available on our media platform. So I'm sure every one of you are using Facebook. So I want you to subscribe to our Facebook. I think you can just go to your Facebook and type Tin Media. I'll just give you a link here so that you can just when you have time, please.
Certainly. Everybody would like to visit your page.
Yeah, so that you can get all the updates on Malaysian as well as the Asian tourism industry updates. We have reporters who report on daily I think it's a very engaging platform where you can see what is trending and all that. So I think we talk about education tourism, golf tourism, medical tourism, eco tourism, food tourism, wedding tourism. So we basically cover a lot more on that. So please take out your phones and go to Facebook and type Tin Media, Media, Tin Media, and like our Facebook page so that you can connect with us. You can communicate with us if you have anything, and you can also go to our news portal, which is tin.media. I'm typing it down on the session, so you can pick it up from there, right? So I think it's been amazing to spend 1 hour this morning with you all, and thank you so much for listening to me, and hope you have learned something out of this session. And again, thanking the organizers. I mean, it's been I think this is pretty good stuff Dr. Anjali and team is doing, because you're bringing so many people under the roof, and everybody is keen to learn. And I think you should do more such events in the future, but to benefit everyone. So I think going virtual is the new normal. I think it's very easy for us to communicate now. Just one press, and then we can see each other. How beautiful it is. So thank you once again, and have a good day, and wish you a good session. I think the next speakers are
Thank you so
already
much.
there. And yeah,
Thank you. Thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much.
And we have concluded, you have concluded within the time, and you have covered almost all the aspects and dimensions of tourism, sports tourism, education tourism. Of course, we also discussed the opportunity, and we see that the webinars, like he said, that it is a wonder now that another opportunity we see in it. And
Right.
of course, we have Anjali Madam and the team, college has uncashed this opportunity to bring all sort of, it's a feast, a knowledgeable feast now for everybody. That every expert is coming forward and then exchanging their views, their knowledge. And of course, these are the new vistas, new avenues for everybody to think over, ponder over the new opportunities. On behalf of Shivaji Education College and all the organizers, I think you are also one of the members of the organizers. So on behalf of everybody, I thank you once again for such a brainstorming and an informative session. Thank you so much. Looking forward for the close association in future, and we shall begin with the another session. So friends,
Definitely.
we have, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, all the participants. Again, I welcome you all for the next session of this session. I would like to kindly check whether Madam Roslyn is online.
Yes, ma'am.
Rosita, Madam Rosita
I'm
is
here.
online.
Hi.
Rosita ma'am is
Hi, good
there.
afternoon. I'm here,
Very good
madam.
afternoon. Very good afternoon. I welcome on behalf of organizer such a charming personality amongst us.
Yeah.
Before we start, I would like to give a brief introduction about you.
Uh-huh.
Madam Rosita uh, Apois Hemani. She is a chair, former chair of Kinesthetic Department, Quality Assurance Officer College, Arts and Science School of Science. She's a director of Central for the Well-being. She's a certified trainer for the wellness coach. She is certified trainer for the yoga and ISO lead author. And so many things are there. And we are really fortunate to have you today on this session, madam. I welcome you again on behalf of everybody. And over to you now.
Okay. Thank you, Madam, for a very well said and much introduction. So much for it. And of course, I came from Philippines, Cebu in particular. We're in still on lockdown because our place still increasing. Okay. In fact, part of the Philippines, we are the most highest city that having the positive cases of COVID. And of course, I don't know how many hours. I think you are now in 3 to 4 hours sitting, right? And listening to all the speakers. So I mean, I request everyone, since I am advocate of movement, just simply lengthen your spine. I think that those who are in yogi, you know this one. My just simply open up your chest. Just give yourself a stretch for a while. Take a deep breath and trying to move your shoulder for a while, move it backward slowly, and of course, bring it forward. And extend simply your arms sideward. That's something it could help to our spine and to our chest because we keep on trying. Our eyes and our neck here is quite tension already because we're trying to put ourselves and our eyes into the laptop or wherever you are trying to um, check on the webinar. Anyways, without further ado, of course, first and foremost, I would like to thank the organizers, okay, for choosing me as one of the to discuss a topic regarding on the therapeutic exercises, particularly on the yoga, and particularly some of the exercises or functional exercises. So to start with, let me present to you. All right. So my title is about more on therapeutic community. I'm sorry, therapeutic exercises as community support activities in times of pandemic. So I know that everybody right now is on a lockdown, and when lockdown was imposed, so there was a home quarantine, and behind this silence of home quarantine, this also threatens the lives of people and as well as the community. In fact, according to the health experts of United Nations, there was a huge changes and increase of global mental health crisis due to the COVID-19 pandemic according to the Reuters. It was stated last just May 14. And one of the problems that we're facing right now is we have the mental illness crisis in looming as millions of people worldwide are surrounded by death and disease and forced into isolation, poverty, anxiety by the pandemic of COVID-19, and they all cause or could cause psychological stress. According to psychologists, says that children are anxious right now and increases in cases of depression and anxiety had been recorded in several countries, even in your countries and even in my countries too. And in fact, aside from that, there is what we call domestic violence also that rising up. And health workers are reporting an increase the need of psychological support. And in fact, in addition, based from the interviews with doctors and nurses in the United States and in other countries, they said that either they or their colleagues had experienced a combination of panic, anxiety, grief, numbness, irritability, insomnia, and nightmares. With this, the United Nations launched a policy on COVID-19. In fact, it was just made just 2 weeks ago. That was May 13. Okay. According to Mr. Gutierrez, the head of United Nations, the message was echoed by the head of the mental health, Christelle. They highlighted how those most of the risk for today were the frontliners, health workers, older people, adolescents, and young people, those with pre-existing mental health conditions, and those caught up in the conflict and crisis. And with this, we must help them and stand by them. According to the United Nations, in fact, this was just by given to us, the date or the data was given to us by the World Health Organizations, that and guidelines on depression up to anxiety before the COVID-19 pandemic cost the global economy more than 1 trillion per year. Now, depression affects 264 million people in the world, while other half all mental health conditions start by the age of 14, with a suicide, and the second leading cause of that is the young people and age 15 up to the 29. Now, in addition, the World Health Organization, many healthy individuals are being requested to stay at home in a self-quarantine. In some countries, or in my countries, the fitness centers, the parks, even the amusement centers will remain temporarily closed. And staying at home for a prolonged period of time can pose a significant challenge for remaining physically active. Sedentary behavior and low levels of physical activity can have a negative effects on the health and well-being and the quality of life of the individuals. And in addition, self-quarantine can also cause additional stress and challenge the mental health of the citizens. WHO, on their campaign, the Active campaign, which aims to help the individual become more active and to lessen or eradicate sedentary lifestyles. Now, the campaign is to take a short break from sitting. And in fact, this is the reason why a while ago I was trying to stretch our body, because if you have noticed, it is not just me, but it was came from the WHO that by at least 3 to 4 minutes of light intensity physical movement, such as walking or stretching, will help ease your muscles and improve blood circulations and muscles activity. It also improves our bones and muscle strength and increases the balance, flexibility, and fitness. And of course, for our older people, activities that improve balance help to prevent falls and injuries. Now, for these ongoing studies, because my study is ongoing right now, there were theories behind or that supports this study. And I have chosen the functional fitness exercises that train muscles to work together and prepare them for a daily tasks by simulating a common movements you might do at work, at home, or in sports, while using various muscles in the upper and the lower. And at the same time, functional fitness exercises also emphasize the core stability. And another one is a therapeutic exercise program must address not only the physical needs, but also the emotional and psychological needs in returning the individual to activity by the use of yoga, the asanas, and the breathing exercises. Now, the main objectives of the ongoing study is to help the community through exercises towards the wellness and well-being in times or this time of pandemic. Specifically, persons are clinically diagnosed with anxiety, panic attack, and depression. Other one, frontliners, particularly in the Bureau of Management and Penology, or we call here the BJMP or jail guards, our personnel, jail personnel, and of course the officers are not allowed to go home in order to protect the health of the prisoners and at the same time their families. It's been 5 months already that they were locked down in the respective prisons. Okay, and of course the community, especially those who have access in the social media or who have internet, and join in me in my yoga class for free. What are the methods that I'm using in order to help the community, the frontliners and the individuals? I'm using right now the qualitative descriptive analysis method was employed in the study. Another one is the phenomenological approach, especially those participants that have anxiety, panic, and insomnia. How many respondents that I'm having right now? There were a total of 126. And out of there were 9 respondents who are totally subject themselves for a yoga, for emotional trauma, and those who have insomnia and depression. And the rest are the jail personnel and officers from different cities of my country. And of course, participants from the social media during for my FB Live. So how does the procedure of this research going on? In fact, during the lockdown, that was the second week of March, when lockdown was imposed here in my country, particularly in my city, I immediately called up my students and those who are willing to join with me in the yoga. And there is some briefing, and those are really clinically diagnosed. I'm inviting them to join with me in a series of yoga class sessions. And then, of course, because I am a government employee, I'm also helping um, these jail personnel. Okay, they called us up to help them because they're already personnel who are not, because I'm sorry, there are already jail personnel who are, suffering of the mental illness. So I use them functional exercises. And of course, once a week, that's every Sunday, it's early in the morning, I give the community for free via social media, and that is a Facebook Live. Now, as far as the results of the study for now, so I may call it preliminary because this is still ongoing research. So there was a positive results already, the way we conduct, interviews, particularly on the phenomenology of those people who are joining with me yoga. That is a twice a week. So those people who are joining with me yoga for, depression, anxiety. And then twice a week also for the BGMP, and once a week again for my FB Live. So as far as the positive results, during the time of pandemic, so the respondents states that they were able to sleep, especially those who have insomnia, right after the conduct of yoga class. Okay, actually I started, it's every night. Twice a night, and I usually conduct the yoga every night around before they're going to sleep at around 8 to 9 in the evening. Okay, and then they feel relaxed and rested right after the yoga class. Okay, so another also respondents, texted me or informed me during my live yoga responded, they say that they're so very thankful because some of the yoga class, aside from the YouTube, I'm giving them for free. Okay, and respondents also states from the jail personnel that they were also thankful because the functional exercises given to them are very relaxing. At the same time, they were able to sleep. And in fact, according to research, it is to support the response of the participants. Evidently, research of how yoga was used as therapeutic modalities is to help the individual who are suffering with panic up to the depression. So right now, several studies on the qualitative and quantitative data shows positive effects of yoga into the well-being of the person. Extensive work it has shown that systematic, special, tailor-made asanas practices, dedicated pranayamas, meditation, and mantras could provide a broad spectrum immune build-up in the body so that the viral infection could be averted and it is virulence reduced. That was it's a quantitative study right now. Data just this May publish, okay, because they also conducted yoga to those who have, I think, infected of COVID. And of course, another study, okay, that validates that the study, between the correlation between the alpha brain, how the yoga helps, and functional exercises, activation in the frontal lobe, as seen in the electroencephalogram. I'm sorry for I'm not making if I'm there are some as far as the words given there. And on the increase on the activity during yoga practices, pointing to the relationship between the calm mind and better cellular immunity, as far as the study is concerned and approve of other research. Now, to give you these are some evidences to give the participants for this webinar. I just want you to share to you some pictures as evidences of how I conducted the yoga. And of course, functional exercises. The first one, in fact, that was last Sunday because I conducted it every Sunday, okay, in cooperation with my university. Okay, and the other one, those are participants that I used to have it every twice a week. Okay, for those who have depression. And of course, the other one is, of course, this from our university, helping me to, to inform the community as far as the free yoga is concerned. And of course, the other one that was last Sunday by the participants following with me. And the other one is when I conducted yoga for depression or emotional trauma, I used to have it with me, the licensed psychologists who would the one to do the counseling right after the yoga practice or after the session. Now, in conclusion, a recommendation to maintain a strong health and mental well-being in this time of pandemic. This study recommends to practice yoga. Exercises or functional exercises that releases the tension of the body, do breathing techniques, and of course, meditation at your own level as part of your daily routine exercises in order to help improve our immune system and of course, our mental health in order to develop positive and psychological and physical health and eradicate sedentary lifestyle. And of course, as a PE teacher and a yoga instructor, as a part of my social community responsibility amidst this pandemic, let us learn to collaborate with other agencies and experts in order to help, especially for our frontliners and vulnerable people. And let us eradicate sedentary lifestyle by promoting active life. And let us use social media for now to make things happen. And of course, before I'll end this, let me tell you that do things for the people, not because of who they are or what they do in return, but because of who you are. Thank you and namaste. Hello?
Hello.
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
madam. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a very nice session. Varsha, ma'am, the chairperson, soon will be here. Hello. Can you hear me, Varsha, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. I hear you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I'm talking to our chairperson, Dr. Varsha Deshmukh. Can you hear me, ma'am? Dr. Varsha Deshmukh? Hello. This session is open for questioners. So anyone, any participant is having questions, so they may ask or raise their hand, or they may comment in the comment box.
Yes, yes.
Hello.
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 Hello, Varsha ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes. You're very much audible, ma'am.
Question answer start.
Rosita ma'am has concluded her session, so you may.
Rosita madam, we just wanted to know that what is kinetic energy and then what is alpha energy? Can you explain us alpha energy?
I'm sorry, madam. I cannot hear it properly because the voice is distorted as of the moment. May I
can you
know
please
again?
explain us what is alpha energy? What is
I'm
alpha
sorry?
energy? What is alpha energy? Can you
Okay.
explain
As
us
far
alpha
okay.
energy?
Yeah, actually we call that one, as far as the readings and as far as the review of the related literature. Alpha, actually it talks about in the brain, the function of the brain, the alpha wave, and there were types of as far as how the psychologist is concerned, the way my partner explained it to me, if the brain has its own wave, okay, if the person is calming, the best detector that the person is really relaxed and totally calm is when the brain reach the alpha wave. That's how they define it to me. And this was also validated on the quantitative studies as far as related literature is concerned. When they conducted yoga, as far as the breathing and the different asanas and pranayamas, I mean the breathing exercises to a participants, they use the alpha brain waves. How the brain of those participants respond when they have the breathing exercises. So it was reached on the highest level wherein the calmness of the person, and it shows on the alpha wave, okay? The alpha wave of the brain, okay? It shows there when they conducted that the person who really participated, okay? Some of the person, I think it was conducted on 212 women, and some of them reach the alpha wave level. So meaning to say, the yoga has really benefits, has a lot of benefit as far as relaxations is concerned, releases of the tensions of the body, okay, and at the same time, the people will be able to release all the tensions in the body, and at the same time, there is what we call as they will be able to have they call it the here and now. Okay, so nothing more to think, but rather to breathe. And when they breathe, all they have to do is just simply to be on the movement. It's more about on the feeling, but it's more about on the feeling, not on the thinking. That's how the research explained as far as quantitative and the brain waves is concerned, the alpha wave level. Yes, madam.
Thank you so much. Actually, when we see the opportunities, I think all the yoga trainers or yoga coach, they are like in demand nowadays, because one has to just as you said, that sitting at home and doing nothing physically, that may lead to some depression, some insomnia, and we need some physical activities for that. And the yoga is the best solution for it, I guess. And pranayama yoga, of course. Have you ever can you suggest any more things, like the guidelines your country have, since the session is for the exchanging their views and exchanging, can you because besides this, to increase the immunity, any special diet plans do you advise to our audience?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, if you have noticed on the what do you call this, on the slides that I have given to you, right now, as far as the guidelines of our country, though some of right now there the guidelines on all, in fact, all government agencies for our WHO here in the Philippines, including our Department of Social Welfare, will really promoting physical fitness activities at home, at least 30 minutes. So on my part, as a PE teacher, so in doing such, and as part of my community social responsibility, I do immediately the Facebook Live, because it's my expertise. Aside from the PE teacher, I am also a yoga instructor here. So that's why I'm giving it for free. So, but right now, there are many promotions, advertisement that people really have to move for 30 minutes at home. But however, as to how people move at their respective home, we cannot surely, and to what extent people right now doing such physical activities. Yeah, so that's our concern right now. But guidelines, many, at least 30 minutes a day, we're following the guidelines of the WHO given to us.
Yes, India is since ancient time practicing yoga and some pranayama, and then which is we have some gurus, yogic gurus like Baba Ramdev, like Shri Ravi Shankar, and many they are there. Like so, immunity is the main cardinal principle during the lockdown, during the worldwide pandemic. And I guess India is very bravely facing this pandemic and trying to build the immunity and face this difficult situation. So while concluding, I thank all our both the speakers of today's session.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello, there is a question. Mr. Dilshad Ahmed is there live from America. So he would like to ask a question to Rosita, ma'am.
Dilshad, please. Yes.
Hi, Dr. Rose. How are you?
Hi. Yeah,
Great to
how
see
are
you.
you? Hello, it's been a while.
Wow. Great to see you after a long time. Great to see you after a long time.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, it seems like Dr. Anjali is doing a great job. I mean, it's bringing everyone in the same page, and she is giving us an opportunity to talk with each other. Yeah, it's lovely. So yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Doing great. So lovely presentation. Yeah, I mean, you bring very important topic. It's like mental health, yoga, and how people needs to engage themselves during this lockdown is very important topics, I believe. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, do you have any plan to find out some of the opportunities how we can actually conduct some studies on mental health, basically a cross-cultural study, because it seems like many people are on the same screen. Maybe somebody would be interested in doing some research in that way, in that same line, like mental health stuff and cross-cultural stuff, and how, especially in this lockdown, because a number of studies may have conducted maybe in the same line of study, like mental health and yoga, but it will be very unique doing something like in this lockdown, how actually mental health things are going on. Yeah. So
thank you.
yeah. So this is one of the things, because recently I have published some of my papers in Taylor and Francis in the same field, like mental health. And this is one of my interesting topic, actually very close to me. So I'm really interested if you feel like that's to do some cross-cultural stuff, to see how actually people are handling country-wise. You know, you have your own situation in a country, we have our own situation in our country. When I compare the US situation now with the Indian situation, the things are totally different. So yeah, I'm always ready. If somebody is there, Rosita, just go ahead and just let me know if you have any planning in that way to do some cross-cultural stuff.
I will go, Shad. Yes, I will. I would like just to this is just an additional that onto what because no one questioned what are the asanas that I'm using as far as for the for emotional and for the mental health. I'm following a book because I'm with a psychologist. He's helping me, and I'm following a book, Yoga for Emotional Trauma. There is specific asanas movement that I used in order to facilitate these people who have mental illness. So in fact, this is the book that I'm using. Okay, there are both psychologists because my partner is also a psychologist. And then of course, if there are crises right now, especially we're talking about the domestic violence, I am also using a yoga, which is I'm using it a contact yoga, especially for those partners are married or coupled people who are having right now crisis during the lockdown and still even now having their self quarantine at home, and they quarried a lot of crisis. So we're using this for them. Okay. So at the same time, it's very important that you have your partner with you. So as far as the counseling is concerned, I'm not doing the counseling. I cannot do a research as far as mental health because it's not my expertise. Okay. So otherwise, as far as ethics, research ethics is concerned, I'm not allowed to do or conduct research for these kind of vulnerable people. That's why I am collaborating with a psychologist So as far as the counseling is concerned, he is the one facilitating for the counseling right after the yoga. And then, of course, that's very important thing. Right after the asanas, the breathing, and so on and so forth, facilitative question or therapeutic talk is very important. So that's
Okay.
it. So thank you, Dalshad.
Great, great. Thank you, Rosita. Thank you so much. Yeah. Probably
Namaste.
we'll make in another sessions together again
Hopefully.
separately. Great.
Certainly,
Thank you. Yeah.
certainly. Dilshad, we will have another session with you. And it's really great to see you online after many years. And
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Barsha ma'am. Yeah.
yes. hello, hello,
Hello.
hello.
Madam, thank you for this because it's
Hello.
almost 8 years I haven't met Dalshad.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Madam.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, Smita madam, welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Just it's very nice, very fantastic session. Listen to ma'am also. Let me know one thing. This is through this yoga, this emotion management, and I want to ask only one question for how one the student can survive for this as a student. As a student, we're talking about all this. What should we
Youngsters.
actually the best practice they should have? Yeah.
Okay, as far as the cancer survivor is concerned, Madam, are you talking about, let me repeat your question. Are you asking for the cancer survivor?
For the students, for the emotion management, to balance themselves, the psychology through yoga.
I mean for children, are you talking for the children?
Youngsters, the teenagers, the college
Yes. All right. Now, basically for the children, what do I do, especially for my kids? I'm practicing with them. Depending on the children, the age of the children would matter because the usual, the asana with all the Surya Namaskar, they cannot perform that one, and they cannot even have the full, one of the breathing. You cannot impose the way the adult do. So what you're going to do, what I'm trying to do right now, in fact, that will be on my YouTube right now. I'm having now on my YouTube, okay, yoga for children. Actually, there's no yoga for adults, so yoga for children. It's just the way you make your things creative in order to help these children. So what do they do with my kids is I always have the yoga balls with me. I play with them, and then just 4 to 5 yoga asanas. In fact, if you have seen this one, as far as contact yoga is concerned, I'm the one on the lower part, and my kids is on the upper part. That's how I play with them.
Yeah.
So it's more than the moment I play with them, I just simply, okay, you have to take a breath so that no more fear, just trust mama. But behind of that, I'm imposing yoga movement for them. And then another thing for the young, yes. Then aside from the madam, you can also for the kids, you have to show pictures of the animals. Let's say, for example, when you say downward dog, okay, you follow this dog. So all you have to do is to follow. Then other ones, how the cat and the cow poses. So you just simply follow that, and that is very simple. Then you give active lifestyle to them. Just for 30 minutes. Thank you. I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Smita madam, for your input. And while concluding, since both the speakers, Prashant Chandra and from Malaysia and Madam Rosita Apoy from Philippines, they have really given us very useful information for how to face this pandemic, global pandemic, COVID-19 through yoga, through using various techniques.
Madam, excuse me. May
Yes.
I answer some question in the chat? Because it's my opportunity to be with them because they cannot
Yes,
raise their
you,
question.
please,
Okay.
please.
Let
It
me
will be
answer some.
very fine if you could.
Okay. Just
do
for
the
5
honors.
minutes. Okay. The question, how the lockdown affected mental health, as far as the data given to us by the WHO, that's how being affected right now. Okay. So I cannot give you that much in my country, but it's as WHO data right now, which is overwhelming. It's ×3 higher than last year. So meaning to say, if it is happening in your country, it also happens here. It is so very silent right now, but it's dangerous. And then another that is, I would like both very nice. Okay, there is another one question here. What type of yoga should you prescribe for the old citizen. Yes, as far as the functional movement is concerned for the yoga, you please use chair yoga for them. Be innovative as far as the limitation of the body of our, you know, older people, grandparents. I don't have here the book, but I'm using, there are a lot in the YouTube channel, but please choose only that is according to their body limitation. But right now in my session, I'm just using the chair for them to move and twist their body from time to time. A very simple exercises, but the most important thing is the breathing exercises, transition of the movement. So that's for the older people. Okay, what tools? Okay, as far as the tools is concerned, since I am collaborating with my psychologist, licensed psychologist, of course they have the tools. Okay, they have the tools which is what we call as what do you call that? There about I think tools they're using. They have the DSM. If you are familiar, if you're in the world of the psychology, the DSM, we have tools here because we are having my husband is a psychologist, so his tools is more valid as far as taking into the you know, clinically diagnosed for those who have anxiety and you know, yoga. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Emotional balance and yoga posture. Explain it. Oh, as far as the emotional balance and yoga posture is concerned, is that first and foremost, you cannot give. It takes time for you to be able to help a person. Okay, it takes time if the person is what. In fact, there is a series of counseling first before you impose yoga postures, so that it would be easy for you to penetrate to your client or to your students as far and explain to them the meaning and the benefit of the asanas that you're given to these students for their, in order to have the emotional balance, because breathing is really that open up the certain part of the body that has been locked up during that, you know, during the grief, during the, if the brain is too or has many things to occupy, it runs down to the body. And in fact, the one of the you know, some of the evidences, palpitations. Okay, palpitations, they cannot sleep, and so on and so forth. But when the breathing comes in through the part of the body, it relaxes the body. Okay, yes. Okay, last one. This is already last one. As a cancer and diabetic person and as a at high risk concern of the COVID, please suggest yoga exercises them to prevent. Okay, my sister right now, I'm doing research on my sister because my sister is a cancer survivor. That's why I'm giving them, no, depending on the age. And again, depending on the age and depending on the level of the cancer, okay? Because first and foremost, especially if you are a diabetic, okay, you cannot do a lot or perform more as far as, you know, the sugar and so on and so forth. I would like you to give a very simple asanas movement, okay? The Surya Namaskar, the simple, the traditional one, okay? Not the one that, you know, there is a three-legged dog. No, it's not. A very simple in order to build more the immune system. In fact, there is one good study as far as the Surya Namaskar, the traditional. Just make it simple. It's a routine that they can perform. Okay, as long as their body is capable of doing such. But if not, just simply opening of the, you know, opening of the chest and opening of the lower back, and then so on and so forth. Oh, I'm sorry. Just email me because I cannot answer all of those, guys. As much as I
Yes, it
want,
is.
but we have limited time. Thank you, guys. Thank you for sharing all your questions, and I hope I've answered it.
I hope all the audience must have satisfied with the answers of Rosita. And
Yeah, there
in
is.
the beginning only, she has made us exercise how to sit for a long time without any trouble in the your bodily pain or something like that. So thank you so much, Rosita, for giving us all-round information right from the cancer survivors, then the psychology, and then covering all the aspects, kinetic energy, then alpha energy level and everything. It is indeed very useful during this lockdown and home quarantine. I also thank Prashant Chandra, who spoke on the sports tourism. Sports tourism industry has started recognized as one of the major industries, and their travel experiences, which is really bringing new avenues and vistas to this uh, tight marketing situation. Then I guess our country, we must understand the opportunities involved in both the sessions, and whatever the questions you have, kindly refer to the organizers or through emails. I would like to have your emails and phone numbers so that the audience can share their questions to you. I again, on behalf of organizer, thank you everybody, and kindly join us after the lunch again for the second session of this day.
May I say something? I would like just also to thank Professor Rajas Kumar for choosing me. He's a good friend of mine, and of course the organizer. So thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, both the speakers, Mr. Prashant Chandra, sir, that we have been working since 3-4 years together, sir. Thank you so much for the enthusiastic session, and Dr. Rosita Hirani, ma'am. Thank you for being highlighting all the spacious things about yoga and exercises. A special thank to the chairperson of today's session, Dr. Varsha Deshmukh ma'am. Thank you very much for conducting and holding the chair. And on behalf of, sorry?
There were technical glitches from my side, even though thank you so much.
Can you hear me properly, ma'am?
Thank you so much, Aniket.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. So we will meet after lunch at 2 o'clock. Yes, yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. And the feedback form will be be on. Next session will be sharp. Thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Thank you, all of you. We will meet again at 2 o'clock sharp after lunch. The link is open, or if you want to disconnect, you can reconnect with the same link, no problem, or you can keep continuing with same link. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.